Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we'll be basically discussing about server-driven UI, and we'll be doing a basic implementations of it in both in React as well as in Vue. So, based on your interest, you can navigate the timestamps below. So let us first discuss about what is server-driven UI. So for that, let us first discuss a scenario, which is if suppose you are a front-end developer and suppose the marketing team comes to you asking you to do a lot of multiple minor changes, minor tweaks as such, like put the button of this field in this screen to some other location, or maybe put this text field somewhere else. These are minor tweaks, okay, but these are like happening just before a deadline, or you can say just before a delivery. Okay, so I don't think you'll be happy as such, I guess. Obviously, you'll do the job, that's a different thing. So another scenario you can take is like suppose your product has a very clear-cut roadmap. It's like 2 years down and everything is planned. You have your own design system. You have a lot of consistency between all of your screens. You can take a banking application as such. So in that scenario, what you can do is like maybe you can have your UI rendered using a JSON, or maybe you can say have your UI dynamically rendered using a JSON. Like suppose in a screen, as you can see, we have a form here. Okay, which is basically having dynamically rendered, as you can see, and we have something called schema, which is nothing but the details of this form in a JSON schema format. Okay, and we have the UI schema data. This is just one of the examples. Okay, just to show you, illustrate what I'm trying to say. So what we can have is like we can have our schema, and based on the schema, based on our call, okay, we can have the UI rendered dynamically. So that suppose if you want to change, do minor tweaks here and there, you can just do them using the JSON schema, and it will reflect in the UI as well. Okay, I think this was a brief overview, and I think hopefully it will become very clear when we go through the implementation as such. So let me first walk you through the React code. So for the React code, what I've done is like I've basically built the whole project, and we'll be discussing it now. So first of all, I have the JSON schema here. The JSON schema, you can do whatever you want here. There's an industry standard, or you can say there's a very popular library, I think, which is nothing but, let me go to it. So I think JSON schema as such. So it's very popular. So based on this also you can go about, and there are a lot of libraries built on top of it. But otherwise there's no one stopping you to do it by your own also. So for me, for this basic example, I've just made my own conventions, you can say as such. We have a couple of things here. We have one entry for a select input. Okay. As you can see, the field type is select list. And we have for text input, as you can see, we have text here. And couple of things like as you can notice, multiple and options are make sense for select, but it doesn't make sense for text. And for text, placeholder makes more sense, you can say. So this is a JSON schema, and what I've done is like in the package.json file. Let me go here and show you. I'm running a server command, which is nothing but JSON. It's gonna run. It's basically gonna run a JSON server for you. Okay, server you can say very in simplified terms. I'm running it. I've run already the command, and it's running on what port 3000 and schema. You can get it. Let me show you. As you can see, there's the output. I'm already running it, and I'm also running the React as well. Okay. So let me now walk you through the code. We have the app.tsx file. In here, as you can see, we have a couple of state variables like schema, set schema, and we basically we're fetching the data or schema, you can see, from that endpoint, and we are basically setting it to the schema variable here. And we're passing the schema as well as components to the generator component. So let us go to generators. Sorry, first we'll go to components. As you can see in components, we are just having a basic mapping here. As you can see, we have an object where we have the text as well as the key as well as the output. We have basically we have the key value. Okay, one is the name of the entry as well as another is JSX element which you would like to render. And in the elements are here. As you can see, one is the text and the other is select list. These are just basic stuff. You can do anything here if you want. You can put your material UI. You can use style components, whatever you. It's up to you. Basically, what I'm trying to say. I just wanted to keep the example simple, so I've just done it using plain HTML. Okay. Similarly, we have the select also. We are not. It's nothing much difference. We are just taking the props, and based on select, we are just taking. We're iterating over the options and creating options. Okay. And for text input, we're just taking the placeholder based on. So in this way, you can have button also. You can have drop down. not drop down, you can say color dropper, color picker, etc. You can have, it's up to you how much of components you want based on your application needs. You can have them. Just you need to have the entry here. Okay. For here, date also have the entry, and date is nothing but input type equal to date. So that's why it's very simple here to do it. So, and now let us go to meet this main crux of this application, the main core you can say, which is nothing but generator component. In a generator component, we're passing the schema as well as the components. For the schema, what we are doing is like basically we're iterating through this array and using map. And since we are using map, we need to give the key. So I'm just using the React fragment here, and I'm just taking the components field or field type, which is just going to refer the component. As you can understand, let me show you and let it be very clear. As you can see, we have components. We have field or field type, which is nothing but select list. You can see one example is select list. And if we come to components, select list. If we come to components, select list, it represents this select list element. Sorry, this component. Just to clarify, this field dot field type represents to select list value, which is nothing but a string. Then we come here, which refers inside the components. We are referring it using the key, which we have the select list, and we are getting the select list component, and basically we are passing it the arguments, whatever we have, which is nothing but field, and it's basically rendering. I've done a very simplified example. You could have made more uh, complicated or maybe more useful. It depends. Okay. So anyway, so this is nothing but that. Okay, and I think that is it. Maybe I think I'm not skipping anything. Let us see the output. Okay. So it's running on 5173. Copy it. As you can see, we have the output here. Okay. And suppose if I come here and if I manipulate the JSON file, let me remove that select input. Let me refresh it. As you can see, now there is no select input. Okay. So in this way, based on just this modifying the schema file or this file which is rendered from the server, which is sent from a server, which you have control completely, you can basically show different kinds of UIs to a user. So if you can understand it, it's very powerful in one way. Okay. If you utilize very clearly. Anyway, as you can see, it's working fine. It came back again. So this was it for the React demo. Let us go to Vue one now. So for Vue also, I've done something similar. I've done some tweaks here and there. We'll discuss now. So for the app.view, we are basically fetching the data again from same schema endpoint, and we are basically setting it as schema variable, and we are passing the schema to the generator as a prop. Okay, and let us go to generator here. In generator, we are basically importing the text as well as the select list component. Let us discuss them as well. For a text, we are passing it as filled data as the prop. Okay, and we are basically rendering it. Nothing much. It's somewhat similar with React, how we have done. Okay. And for the view, also something similar we have done. We have just basically rendered it, okay, and based on the field data, we're just rendering it, okay. Let us now go to generator component, and in view we have something called dynamic components, which is it makes it very easy for us to do it, what we want to do. So for that, what I'm doing is like basically I'm iterating through the schema array, and I'm basically rendering all these components based on whatever it represents in the schema type. If it's text, it's going to render text. If it's select input, it's going to render a select input. Okay, and for the field data, basically, I'm again, like I told you, I'm taking this field data as a prop. So I need to pass it somehow. So I'm passing it again. The field, whatever I'm getting here from the schema, I'm passing it to the field data as a prop to the dynamic component, which is nothing but it can be text or select list based on this here. As you can see, is basically going to tell you which component to render. And in our case, we are basically going to decide using the field type. If the field type is text, it's going to render the text component. And if it's select list, then it's going to render select list component. Okay, that's it, I guess. And there is nothing much difference here as such. Okay, so maybe let me see. I don't think I missed out anything. Yeah, cool. Let us see the output as well for this. It's running in 5174. As you can see, it's working fine. Okay. Let me again change the schema to be on this to show you clearly. It's working fine. I've again removed it. Let us come back here, refresh it. As you can see, it's 517 is running, view is running here, and as you can see, it has basically changed it. Okay. And based on the updated schema, or you can say rendered it. Can you undo it? So I think this was it for this whole video. I know it's very simplified example. Uh, Honestly, if you'd like me to go more into depth about how you could, about how would you go about making production grade or as such, or if you have any specific queries as such about this, about server-driven UI as such, you can let me know in the comments as well. And I think that's it for this whole video, and I'll be pushing whatever I've done into GitHub, so you can check that out as well. Okay, and hope to see other videos as well. And bye.